Welcome to Undisputed Fight Talk. If this is your first time on the channel and you're watching on YouTube, hit the button on the end of that arrow there. That'll subscribe you to the channel and keep you up to date with all the latest and greatest boxing news. If you're listening via a podcast format, consider subscribing, following the channel and leaving a review. All that support really does help. In this video, we're going to look at very recent comments by Malik Scott, the trainer of former WBC heavyweight champion Deontay Wilder. He's been tackling a subject that I'm sure a lot of people listening to this podcast or watching this video will be well aware of. It's the ever-growing rumour that there's a two-fight mega card planned for December in Saudi Arabia, featuring Tyson Fury versus Alexander Usyk for the Undisputed Heavyweight Championship of the world, which is just a massive fight. And the joint main event is planned to be Deontay Wilder versus Anthony Joshua. What Malik Scott has come out and said, I'll put it on the screen if you're watching on YouTube. He thinks that Deontay Wilder versus Anthony Joshua is the more exciting fight of the two. And I agree with him. I completely agree with him. But is Deontay Wilder versus Anthony Joshua the most exciting fight to be made in the heavyweight division? For me, it's not. And I think that will surprise a lot of people. But hear me out. Don't get me wrong. Deontay Wilder is by far, inside the ring, the most entertaining fighter in the heavyweight division. I don't think many people will disagree with that. The man's all action. He does exactly what you want in a heavyweight fight. He just goes hunting for that knockout. And that's what you want from the big men. Outside the ring, he's a bit bizarre. His tweets, his social media posts are getting ever more bizarre. But inside the ring, there's no doubt in this man, he's absolute dynamite. He might not be the most technically gifted fighter, and I don't think anyone would argue with that either. But he makes up for that with that dynamite right hand. He's knocked out almost everybody he's faced. There's two men gone the distance. Bermane Stiverne was the first, in which Deontay Wilder knocked him out in the rematch. And obviously, the Gypsy King himself, Tyson Fury, is the only other man who has gone the distance with Deontay Wilder. But think back to that fight. Half a second longer, Tyson Fury would have been counted out. So that's how close he was to knocking every man out he's faced. His style is just incredible to watch. To be honest, you'd have to be either a rubbish matchmaker, a completely useless matchmaker, or really unlucky to put Deontay Wilder in a boring fight. He can be outboxed. We've seen that. We've seen Louis Ortiz take many rounds off him. Like I said, he's not the technically most gifted fighter. He's not going to go out there and win rounds. But the fact he can switch lights out in any second, and the fact he's done it time and time again, just proves how exciting he is. And there's nothing to suggest that those back-to-back losses to Tyson Fury have hindered his game. He's still seek and destroy Deontay Wilder. His last outing, which is his only outing since he lost to Fury, it was against Robert Helenius. He didn't hide from Robert Helenius. He knocks him out in the first round. So his style isn't going anywhere. And if you'd have asked me, say 5 or 6 years ago, I'd have said Wilder versus AJ is without doubt one of the most exciting fights, if not the most exciting fight of the heavyweight division, potentially of the last decade. But this isn't 5 or 6 years ago. We don't have the same AJ we had 5 or 6 years ago. I think if you look, I think people point at the Vlad fight as the turning point, but I'm not fully on board with that. I think after he lost to Ruiz and then he rematched Ruiz, which he won, fair enough, but I think that's where his style completely changed. He came very tentative. He seemed to be wary of taking shots. He didn't want to get involved. The old AJ, the explosive AJ, would have just gone at it. We knew his gas tank wasn't amazing, but within 4 or 5 rounds, he could knock anybody out. But he's resorted to fighting on the back foot, which is never really, especially in the heavyweight division, an attractive style. He looks absolutely petrified of being hit. Or, if not being hit, they're definitely being knocked down. I think the knockdown against Vlad was big. I think the stoppage loss to Ruiz was big. He looked like he was almost feeling sorry for himself. And I think that's really, really riled him, because I don't believe prior to that, amateur or pro, he's really been in that situation. And I think he's frightened to death of going back there. So it's not an exciting style to watch. AJ did have the style. AJ had a fantastic style to start with. If he'd have had this tentative back foot style from his debut, I don't believe he'd have grown to be the fighter he was. He wouldn't have the audience he's got. It wasn't that AJ that people paid to come and see. It was the explosive, powerful, looking to take your head off AJ. Not only that, if he decides against Wilder to fight on the back foot, he's in a lot of trouble. He can't fight a hard hitter, a power puncher like Wilder while you're walking backwards firing single jabs. Wilder just won't respect that. He won't get the respect of Wilder. Wilder will walk through his jab. He'll have absolutely nothing to fear. So for me, we're not going to get two big heavyweight powerhouses going at it like Malik Scott says. They're not going to go at it. Looking at post-Ruiz AJ, we're going to get the tentative back foot trying to outbox Wilder AJ, and it's not the exciting fight for me. For me personally, I'd rather see Deontay Wilder versus Joe Joyce. Now people might say, yeah, but Joyce has just been beat. But Joyce doesn't take a backward step. Even when he was getting his eye pinged by Zhang, he was still coming forward. That's the type of fight that makes exciting fights. Look at someone like Martin Bakole. He's a come forward, aggressive, let his hands go fighter. We know what Wilder is. We've just been through what Wilder is. So they're more, for me, they're more exciting fights. Obviously, they don't have the same name value as AJ versus Wilder. But for me, they are more exciting. So what do you think? What's the most exciting fight in the heavyweight division for you? If you could make any fight, let me know in the comments below. And like I said at the beginning, if you can hit that subscribe button on YouTube or leave a review on the podcast format, that would be fantastic. Thanks for watching, listening, and I'll see you next time.